What's up, y'all? Today I want to talk about the Death School. Why the Death School is kind of absurdly strong, whether it should be nerfed, and if so, how to nerf it. So for pretty much the game's entire lifespan, the best, most reliable school in PvE has been Death. It's so powerful that I don't think many people would disagree with me if I say that it's overpowered. But what makes it so overpowered? Well, I think it's three main things: drains, good stats, and well-roundedness. Firstly, drains are very good value for their pip costs and enable you to almost never die. Even with the slight DPP reduction, they're still way more valuable than regular hits. That healback most definitely outweighs the loss in damage. I think KI should consider toying with the specific percentages that different drains heal you back. In the past, we've had some drains that heal for more and drains that heal for less, but actually I can't think of any that currently exist. Not sure why they scrapped that idea, it was kinda cool. And where I think this is most crucial is with AoE drains. Probably the number one reason Death is such a powerful and easy school to play is because of the way AoE drains work. Unlike every other school in the game, for Death, the more enemies you have to fight, the easier it becomes, because you're draining more enemies with the same spells, right? If you drain 4 enemies, you'll get 50% of that damage back in health from all 4 enemies, meaning that almost every time you use an AoE that's a drain, which is for most of the game, you get all of your health back. You honestly don't even need potions as a Death Wizard. But anyway, if you drain 4 enemies for 5,000 each, you get 10,000 back, which is not only OP, but also pretty unnecessary because your health is rarely that low by the time you hit, and this is assuming you're very high level and even have that much health. You can be doing that kind of damage at like level 50 when your health is not even 3k. So clearly there is an issue with treating an AoE drain in the same way that a single target drain is treated. And so, for balancing reasons, it would probably be best to change them in some way. I think it would be ideal to make AoE drains, rather than healing back half of the damage dealt to each individual enemy, instead heal back half of the average damage dealt to the enemies altogether. If I now take that same example and drain 4 enemies 5k each, I'll only get back 2500. This is a big nerf, but it wouldn't make Death bad by any means. You're still probably getting back to max health in most situations, or close to it, which, need I remind you, is not a luxury that the other schools have at all. And anything over that is just unnecessary if not wasteful. Which is why I'm going to suggest a spell called Offering. This spell divides the healback of your next drain between your teammates. This would work a little bit like your 4-pip Shad. I like this idea because I want to lean into the support aspect of Death. You know, sometimes I think KI just forgot that Death is supposed to be a mid-DPP support school. But anyway, let's say you're fighting a boss and you're in a team of 4. You got a bunch of feints up on him, you use your drain, and you deal 12,000 damage. Assuming this is a 50% drain, you could gain back 6,000 health. Or, prior, you could use Offering on all 3 of your teammates and heal each of them about 2k. So a pretty helpful utility that actually puts the extra drain health to use. I'm not 100% sure that this spell would be no self, but I'm thinking so because Death support spells tend to harm you or leave you vulnerable for the sake of your team. And I think spells like those are quite unbalanced if there's next to no risk of you dying, as it is currently. Part of that zero risk issue is because of the next point, their stats. Death has some of the most insane stats out there. I'd probably say the best stats for most of the game. Their high resist further helps them to never die, and for whatever godforsaken reason, this school gets the second most damage in the game, surpassing both Myth and Fire, which are meant to be more offensive than Death, on almost all of their gear. This isn't even something new with the way they've been doing stats in the past few years. As far as I can tell, it's been like this at least since Waterworks. Can anyone please tell me a singular reason why Death should have more damage than Myth and Fire? Because I really can't think of one. And this just goes to show that Death has everything. Point 3, well-roundedness. Now I understand that some schools are meant to be more tailored to soloing than others. But then why is it also a support school? Death has good offense, good defense, good soloing, and good support. There's literally nothing this school can't do. And I mean, while that's not necessarily a bad thing in itself, it makes other schools so bad in comparison. And in PvE, it's not really a big deal, you know? Why nerf something in a non-competitive environment? And that's true, but it's just that when you're playing any other school, not because you want it to be harder, but because you want to enjoy the playstyle of that school, it's pretty demotivating to then see a death be superior in almost every way. And it's also just less variety. I remember when console launched, as soon as I got past the paywall, probably 90% of the people I saw were deaths, okay? I didn't see a myth for like 3 weeks. I'm not trying to say I want death to be bad, to be nerfed into the ground. I just want it to be more in line with the other 6 schools so they feel worth playing. So, in conclusion, to bring death more in line with the other schools, these are my suggestions. Nerf the healback on AoE drains. Personally, I'd go with 50% of the average instead of 50% of the total. Either lean more into support and away from soloing, or vice versa. Gotta pick one, I feel. And finally, lower their damage, just a little bit, okay? That's probably a lot to ask, but I think the other two are reasonable. What do y'all think? Drop a comment or something. I don't know. Subscribe.